Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kopadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'd like to read you something from Bhagavad Gita from a famous verse that I very much hope you're familiar with. It's Bhagavad Gita 4:34. And we're, as Shyam Kishore Prabhu said, we're titling this discussion, The Mystical Process of Finding Guru. It's nice to put a title on something when we begin. So Krishna tells Arjuna, Tadviri pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadikshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinam. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and under service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. In Srila Prabhupada's purport, he describes, the path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of the foolish pretenders. The Bhagavatam 6.3.19 says, Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. The path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path, nor by independent study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is a secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, excuse me one second. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from a learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees a genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual knowledge. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. Not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and always ready to render service, reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. Gora graganya gana gotra goloruharam Goram Gudatama Gopyada Kopa Gripsham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshikavaram Satatam Namam. So this is a little bit of a controversial topic in a way. It's a very, very important topic, and it's something you'll hear a lot of different things from a lot of different people. Many devotees, they say that we have to accept a guru. But then other devotees, they'll say that well, accepting a guru is overrated and it's a difficult thing because so many gurus have fallen down, there's been lots of problems. And so better that we don't. We just read the books, read Srila Prabhupada's books. In this regard, Srila Prabhupada spoke a lot of different things. I'd like to request Shyam Kishore Prabhu, would you like to read something? Are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So let's see if this chat window can digest this whole quote here. I'll put it in our chat, okay?
Sure, Prabhuji.
And it's too much, so give me a moment here. Just do a little bit at a time. Yeah, here we go. So this is a lecture from Prabhupada in Mumbai on the 5th of October, 1973. Go ahead.
Before engaging yourself in devotional service to the Lord, you must first of all worship the Acharya, Acharyopasana.
Okay.
That's all I got. Is that all?
Yeah, well, there's more. It's just this software you can't paste in very much. Here's more. Go ahead. One cannot.
One cannot become a devotee by one's personal endeavor. Just like some rascals say, what is the use of accepting a guru? Of course, they have got very bad experience. Who is Acharya? Acharya means one who has received Vedic knowledge through the parampara system. Evam parampara praptam imam rajashrayo vidu. He is Acharya, and Acharya cannot be manufactured or self-made. He must come in disciplic succession. One who is under the shelter of an Acharya, he knows things. Krishna recommends that if you actually want to have real knowledge, then you must worship the Acharya, Acharyopasana. That Vijnanartham sa gurum eva vigachet. It is not that if I can go to a guru, if I like, I can go to a guru, and if I don't like, I can study books at home and learn everything. No, that is not possible.
Okay, let's go on with Srila Prabhupada. It's a very, very strong statement from Srila Prabhupada, isn't it? I find it very interesting. He says, just like some rascals say, what is the use of accepting a guru? And then Prabhupada says, of course, they've got a very bad experience. Mm-hmm. So Srila Prabhupada goes on. Go ahead, Prabhuji. It's practical. Are you muted?
I'm sorry. It is practical. Just like if you purchase a medical book, study at home, and then begin to practice, you will be called a quack. The government will not recognize you. You will not get the practitioner's registration. Unless you have passed through the medical college and had your medical examination, you will not be accepted, even if you say, I have read all the books. Similarly, someone may say, I have read Bhagavad Gita 100 times. But if you ask him what is Krishna, he cannot say, because he has not approached the Acharya. This is the difficulty. He might have read Bhagavad Gita 1,000 times, but he will not understand a single word because he has not approached.
So, in the beginning of our spiritual life, Rupa Goswami says, Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu. That the beginning is that we have faith. And faith in what? We have faith in sadhu. Where does that faith come from? Our acharyas have commented on this verse, that faith also comes from sadhu. When we come in touch with some saintly person, then we get some faith. So if we don't have faith in sadhu, then where are we at spiritually? So let me place in another statement from Srila Prabhupada. This is from Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed.
So that's Prabhupada's introduction for Nectar of Devotion. So this statement is there, but this is a controversial thing in society. And why is it controversial? Because it means surrender. It means accepting someone on the level of guru. When Srila Prabhupada announced one day in 26 Second Avenue to those hippies, those young persons who were there, he said, so tomorrow we're going to have an initiation ceremony. And the devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, what does it mean to get initiated? And Prabhupada said, it means you accept the guru to be as good as God. And when Srila Prabhupada told that to the devotees, they were very shocked. Oh, I don't know. Can we do that? It's a very big thing. And it's not something which should be artificial. We've seen that sometimes people, they accept guru for some social reason, because I'm sick and tired of being called Bhakti Kuldeep or this or that. I want to have initiated me. Mm-hmm. People give me more respect when they have initiated me. And so someone takes initiation for that reason. Or sometimes someone takes initiation because they're very impressed with someone. He looks really good. He has a lot of followers. Or maybe because that guru is very affectionate to them. Or maybe because sometimes someone wants to have a big position in society. And they think if I take initiation from this person, then my career in ISKCON will be successful. So these and other problems have made a lot of people, a lot of devotees, very reluctant to accept Guru. Or if they do accept Guru, then they don't take it so seriously. There's a saying in Orissa, I've lived for the last 26 years, Konafanka Guru. Konafanka means that a guru who spits in the ear. In other words, that's how much value someone places on the mantra that they get. He's just someone who comes and spits in the ear. And it means someone who is taking guru in a light way, accepting guru just very, very cheaply. But the point is, if we want to make a connection with Krishna, we have to go through his devotee. But that connection has to be a genuine connection. And it's confusing sometimes. I know very well in our society, there's a lot of different conceptions. And it's just like going to the marketplace and different people tell you different things. You should buy this product. No, buy this one over here. No, I have a better product than him. And how do you know which product is really good and which product is bad? A wise customer, he'll look carefully at different items and he'll shop around and he'll think. Someone who's just in a rush will buy something very quickly and they may get cheated. So there are a number of different conceptions in our society. Sometimes devotees, they say that Guru is your counselor. Guru is your temple president. Guru is your GBC. Personally, I have a problem with that because I don't choose I may not be able to choose my temple president or my GBC member. That's just wherever I join, that person is there. But I pick my guru. And for someone to insist that I should have faith in a manager just because of their managerial position, I find that very, very painful. In fact, I would even describe it as a kind of rape, spiritual rape. Rape meaning when someone forces themselves off onto another person. So that kind of thing I find very troublesome. And I've seen, to be really frank, because I want to be honest with the devotees, we'd like to speak with you about this topic, and I don't want to speak with you about it in a sentimental way or in a cheating kind of way. We want to just be totally straightforward. This is the most important relationship that you'll make in your life. Relationships are very, very important. For those of you who are not married, and are thinking of getting married and finding a wife or a husband, that's a very, very big choice. But I find it disturbing that sometimes devotees are very careful about who they get married to, but they're very quick to get initiated.
But it's breaking up a little bit.
Okay. Can you hear me okay now? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji.
Just let me know if it starts breaking up. I don't know what to do. We only have one connection here, and it is India. And
Yes, sure.
Mayapur, India is that. So we have to make this decision. We have to take responsibility for it. How many devotees would go to the temple president and say, you know, I really want to get married. Can you just find a wife for me or a husband for me? Some devotees did that in the late 60s and early 70s, and there was a lot of problems. Generally, it didn't work very well because it's a very, very big decision. And it's something that if someone's going to make that for you, it has to be someone who knows you very, very well, like your parents or your brother or sister. And it has to be something with which you agree, which you put your heart into. And then what to speak of finding guru? Just as in a relationship between a man and a woman, the principal quality of the relationship is priti, or affection. If there's no affection, if a man goes to a woman and says, yeah, hi, what's your name? You know, I'm trying to find a wife, and would you consider getting married to me? I have to tell you honestly, I'm not attracted by you. I think actually you're kind of ugly, and I really don't like you, but I'm looking for a wife. And you have an Indian body, I'm looking for an Indian body girl, I'm looking for an American body guy or whatever. And would you be my wife? What kind of marriage proposal would that be? And what kind of woman would accept that? But if we think about it, it's a similar thing if someone goes and impress some saintly person, Maharaj, please accept me as your disciple. I don't have any faith in you. I don't believe in you, but I need to have initiation because they're not giving me proper respect. So please give me initiation, make me your disciple. What kind of relationship is that? It's complete nonsense. And just like the person who approaches a woman, but he's not attracted to her, doesn't have any dedication to her, it's a kind of cheating. And that person is going to suffer himself. He may think, oh, she's a beautiful girl, and at least I'll have some pleasure or something, although I don't like her, but at least she's attractive. He's going to suffer like anything. The principal quality of that relationship is priti. There should be affection. The principal quality of the relationship between disciple and guru is shraddha, is faith. And if there's no faith there, then how will things go on? It's just like if you build a big building in downtown Miami, and the building is 50 stories high. Three general elements are required to make that building. One is sand, and another is cement. But there's another quality which we may not take very seriously. But even if you have first-class sand with no stones in it, very nice, soft sand, good for construction. Even if you have a first-class guru, you have first-class cement. If the third item is not present, then it's not going to work. And what is the third item? The third item is something so simple. It's water. If you don't have water, you can mix all the sand and cement forever and ever, but it's not going to work. You have to have water. So that water is our faith. And that faith is not something that can be legislated. And we have to warn you about that. Our society is a wonderful society. What is the essential quality of this society? The essential quality is Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's desire. But just like the Ganga is always pure. But sometimes I've taken bath in the Ganga. I remember once seeing a dead body with all kinds of flies all over, just right close to me when I was swimming. I'd seen human stools in the water. If you bring an average person from America to India and you tell them to take bath here in this water, this is sacred water, they probably won't be very inspired. But the Ganga is pure. Now, those you may say, but I saw those things. No, those things are not part of the Ganga. Those things are on the Ganga. but they're not a part of the Ganga. It's just like if you pass urine in a bottle and put a tight lid on it and throw the bottle into the Ganga, that urine doesn't become purified because it's not coming in contact with it. So in a similar way, sometimes we see problems in the society, but we should understand, what is this society? My revered spiritual master, he used to say that, what is ISKCON? ISKCON is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And then he said, who's really a member? It's that person who's Krishna conscious. And one time he said that, and then he pointed at me. And he said, Madhavananda, not yet joined. So when devotees sometimes ask me, when did you join ISKCON? I say, well, I'd like to, but I haven't yet joined. Because to really join the society means that you're Krishna conscious. Who's really a member of the society is someone who's Krishna conscious. So there may be some nasty things in the society, but we don't see those as a society. The society is the pure desire of Srila Prabhupada, which is like the Ganga. And if we come in contact with that, then we're always protected and we'll always be purified. So the question comes, how do we find such a spiritual master? It's a very, very important question. And honestly speaking, without cheating you, just to be straightforward, if you ask 100 different devotees this question in ISKCON, I think you may get the same number of answers sometimes. And it's very, very confusing then. What is the process to find Guru? But according to the degree of our sincerity and dependence on Krishna, if we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, we take shelter of our acharyas, we'll find that they've given descriptions how to find Guru. And these are very, very important. I printed a small booklet a few years ago called How to Find Guru. And I'd like to ask Shyam Kishore Prabhu again, if you can read something. Let's see if I can paste it in. I did. How about that? How to Find Guru. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
How to find Guru. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has described. At the dawn of our spiritual life, we sincerely and with complete submission and self-surrender pray to God for receiving the protection of Sadguru. The Supreme Lord, perceiving our earnestness and devotion with a view to guide us on the true path, will send a real Guru to us. Otherwise, it is impossible for us to find Sadguru by our own fallible energy. If we guide ourselves by our own energy, we shall come across the pseudo-gurus and, being caught hold of them by their temporary pleasing manners, run down to hell.
Very strong statement. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta printed that in an article in 1929 in the Harmonist. So let's pick this apart a little bit. It's kind of some big English. At the dawn of our spiritual life, that means the beginning of our spiritual life. And what are the qualities we have to have at the beginning of our spiritual life? Sincerity, complete submission, and self-surrender. And we should be praying to Krishna to receive the protection of Guru. When we do that with these qualities, sincerity, complete submission, self-surrender, we pray to Krishna, those four activities, that's the dawn of our spiritual life. And then Krishna, the Supreme Lord, perceiving our earnestness and devotion, he'll look in our heart, oh, what do they really want? It's not just an institution. We shouldn't see it just as Srila Prabhupada didn't begin ISKCON because he wanted to make another religion. He didn't start ISKCON because he wanted to make a big institution and make lots of money. The purpose is not to make life members. The purpose is not even just to sell books. But the purpose of the society, as in the title of it, is for people to become Krishna conscious. And the institution is a kind of box that we keep the gift in. Now, a shallow person, when he gets a present from someone, he may become so enamored. Just see, it's such a beautiful box. it's such a nice box. And he looks at the box in this way and that way, and he never opens the box. What kind of foolish person is that? So what's valuable is what's inside the box. So the box is the institution. And in one sense, we don't separate the gift that's inside the box from the box. But at the same time, there is a difference also. It's kind of a chincha, beta, beta, simultaneously one and different. Because the box means a kind of institution. And there's some external form that we see of money collection, of institutions, of building, making buildings and making members and things. But that's not actually the real internal thing. So if we really want to join the society, if we really want to please Srila Prabhupada, if we want to get the maximum benefit from this society and not be distracted by things in the society itself, which can happen, then we have to depend on Krishna. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta speaking about this, he says that the Supreme Lord, perceiving our earnestness and devotion with a view to guide us in the true path, he'll send a real guru to us. Krishna sends guru. And this is why we wanted to call this discussion the mystical process of finding guru, because it's something mystical. The word mystical refers to an experience that someone has. And a mystic is someone, they may see God or they hear a voice of God, something like that. That's mysticism. And ultimately, Krishna speaks in the Gita, he says, Raja Vidya Raja Guyam Pavitamidam Uttamam, that this knowledge is a king of knowledge, it's the most confidential knowledge, and it's meant to be practically realized. He says it's the most confidential, but this confidential knowledge can only be understood through realization. Pratyek Savagamam Dharmyam. This is Krishna's emphatic statement in Bhagavad Gita. So the institution, we can do so many things. And you're fortunate that you're able to come and take shelter and hear something from Shyam Kishore Prabhu, and you're able to chant with the devotees and things. But if you think that this is the end of the process, that the whole reason I'm here is just to have some social group and come together, then that's okay. That's a nice thing. You'll get something out of it, no doubt. But you won't get the thing which Srila Prabhupada really wanted to give. So that depends upon our earnestness, our sincerity. So Krishna sees our sincerity, our devotion, and then he'll send us a guru. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta goes on to say, otherwise it's impossible for us to find Sadguru by our own fallible energy. We can't find Sadguru. Sadguru means Sat Guru, someone who's a transcendental personality, someone who's actually spiritual. And even if we depend upon the fallible energy of some other person, oh Prabhuji, I don't know who's guru. Can you please tell me a good guru? Maybe give me a list of all the gurus and their pictures also. Sometimes devotees think like that. That's a very external way to think. My wife is from Hungary, and I'm very proud to tell you that I know how to say 3 words in Hungarian language. I'm a very expert Hungarian speaker. I know how to say igen, nem, köszönöm szépen. Yes, no, thank you very much. So based on my expert ability to speak Hungarian, I may decide that I'm going to open a Hungarian embassy. After all, I have a Hungarian wife, and I can speak fluent 3 words in Hungarian. So I'll open up an embassy. But if I do that, then the government will come and they'll punish me. They'll put me in jail because I'm cheating, because I haven't been authorized by the government. If we want to go to a proper embassy, you want to go to the Indian embassy, the US embassy, the Russian embassy, you have to go to the authorized place. So similarly, we have to find an authorized person. And that authorization is both there within the disciplic succession, but also within that personality's realization. So we want to find Sadguru, a spiritual guru. We can't do it by our own fallible energy. So we have to depend upon Krishna, and that is mystical. That's amazing, and it works. It's real. This is something I can tell you for myself. It's something I can tell you from my Guru Maharaj, my revered spiritual master, Sri Srimad Gauragovinda Maharaj, left home in his 40s with a desire to find a spiritual master. He'd been raised in a Gaudiya Vaishnava family his whole life in Orissa. And so he set about, and he told us that he walked from Cape Comorin up to the Himalayas. He went all over India in search of Guru. And he met many Mayavadis, he met many yogis, but he wasn't satisfied. He was looking for someone who had three qualities, who was teaching the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, who knew about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and who knew about Srimad Bhagavatam. And he wasn't able to find anyone like that. Finally, he went to Vrindavan. He stayed for a little while in some Gaudiya Mutt temple, but he wasn't very satisfied there either. And then he left and he went to Vrindavan. And while in Vrindavan, he was going along the road one day and he saw something very unusual. He saw some young men in dhotis and ladies in saris. Now, that's not unusual for him. He grew up with that culture. But what was unusual was they were Bideshis. They were Angrez persons. They were Westerners. And he was very, very shocked. He had never seen anything like that. And he approached them, and one of them gave him a magazine. So this is Back to Godhead magazine. Oh, so he opened the magazine, he started looking through, and he saw the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and a section on Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, very, very nice. He said, I'd like to meet your guru. And they said, oh, you're in good luck. You're very fortunate because Srila Prabhupada is here. Yes, I'd like to meet him. And so Gauragovinda Maharaj, at that time his name was Braj Bandhu Manak, or after leaving home he took the name Gaur Gopal. He approached Srila Prabhupada's servant, whose name was Brahmananda. And he requested to see Srila Prabhupada. And Brahmananda told him, well, I don't know, let me go speak to Prabhupada. And he went in to see Prabhupada. And he said, Prabhupada, there's some sadhu here to see you. Because at that time, Guru Maharaj was dressed in saffron cloth, and he was looking for Guru. He was dressed like a sadhu. And Prabhupada said, yes, bring him in. And so Gauragovinda Maharaj came in, he offered obeisances, he looked at Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada's first words to him were, have you taken sannyas? And Gaur Gopal was his name at that time. He said, no. And Srila Prabhupada said, I'll give you sannyas. And Guru Maharaj said later that I knew this is my guru. I'd been searching, I'd been going to so many different sadhus. He said, I grew up in Orissa. I knew many Gaudiya Mutt devotees. I knew many disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, but they weren't my guru. I met many different sadhus in different places, but they weren't my guru. But when I met Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada knew my heart. Not that he wanted to take the institutional kind of dress of sannyas, but he wanted to renounce the material world. As a young man, he grew up hearing some kirtan songs in their village with their deity of Radha Gopal Jew. And there was one wonderful song about the day that Krishna took sannyas to satisfy the anger, loving anger, the sulkiness of Srimati Radharani. And when Krishna takes sannyas, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He becomes a sannyasi beggar of Radharani's love. And Gauragovinda Maharaj wanted to become a beggar like that. He wanted to become a sannyasi like that. And so when he met Srila Prabhupada, he knew Krishna has sent me. This is my spiritual master. That's something mystical. When we cry in the heart, when we cry to Krishna, oh Krishna, I don't know who is Guru. I don't know who is your representative. Please help me, please help me, please help me. And we chant and chant, something magical happens. I can tell you my personal story. I joined the movement. I got initiated very quickly by one guru in Los Angeles, and he helped me. He was very kind, but after a few years, he had some problems, and very sadly, he left the movement for some time. And for 7 years, I was heartbroken. I didn't have faith in anyone. I didn't know what to do. And then Krishna was very kind to me. He gave me a big kick, and I had some very terrible problems in my personal life. And around that time, I returned to Los Angeles where I had joined. And my whole life was completely destroyed, it felt like. And so I started going upstairs to Srila Prabhupada's room every day when no one else was there. And I would sit down and I would chant and I would cry. And I cried and cried buckets and buckets of tears. And I prayed, Srila Prabhupada, please help me. I need a guru, but not just anyone. I need someone that I have faith in. I need your actual representative. Please, please help me. And it's a long story. But when I met my Guru Maharaj a little after that, I knew immediately in my heart, Srila Prabhupada sent him. And that was it wasn't just an intellectual thing. I can tell you from my personal understanding, it was something very deep in the heart. And that for me was one of the most powerful experiences in my spiritual life. It's one thing to chant Hare Krishna and be in the kirtan and have fun and take prasadam and see the beautiful deities, to hear some nice Krishna katha and have fun. That's all very nice. But it's quite another thing when we have a direct experience, when we see that Krishna is real, that Krishna is controlling me, he's taking care of me, that I can depend on Krishna. And so, therefore, we say that this is a mystical process of finding Guru. Srila Prabhupada also spoke about this. I'll read you something, or ask Prabhuji to read. This is from The Science of Self-Realization. This is a conversation that Srila Prabhupada had with the Irish poet Desmond O'Grady. Go ahead and read, Prabhuji. This took place in Rome in 1974. Go ahead. Prabhupada. You have to unmute though.
Prabhupada, the best friend is the spiritual master because he saves one from the blazing fire of confusion. Oh, Grady, the problem is to find this spiritual master.
Okay. Prabhupada goes on. Go ahead.
No, Prabhupada says, no, there is no problem. The problem is if you are sincere. You have got problems, but God is within your heart. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati. Bhagavad Gita 1861. God is not far away. God is within your heart. So if you are sincere, then God will give you a spiritual master. Oh, Grady, thank you. That I know.
And Srila Prabhupada goes on. Go ahead.
Prabhupada, therefore God is called Chaitya Guru, the spiritual master within the heart. And the physical spiritual master is God's mercy. If God sees that you're sincere, He will give you a Guru who can give you protection. He will help you from within and without. Without in the physical form of spiritual master, and within as the spiritual master within the heart.
This is our Siddhanta. Krishna consciousness is real, and this is the test. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta is saying this is the test of the Lord. He wants to see our sincerity. What do we want? Do we just want to find someone who's a very handsome person, a good singer, or an old man with a long beard? Is that our idea of Guru? Or do I want Krishna? This is our ultimate test. But the problem is that we can't see who that personality is. Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport to Bhagavatam 9, let's see here. Canto 9, chapter 13, text 11. Go ahead and read this one. This is a very short thing.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead can be seen or unseen according to his own transcendental desire. Similarly, a devotee being Jivan Mukta can be seen or not as he chooses.
So this is the problem. We don't know who's really a bona fide person, who's not. It may be the GBC, it may be the spiritual master who has thousands of disciples, who's a pure devotee, or it might be some Grihastha man, it might be a brahmachari, it might be a small child, it might be some housewife. We can't see who's a pure devotee and who's not. Therefore, Jagadananda Pandit, one of the associates of Mahaprabhu, he said that Vaishnava Chiniti Nai Deveda Shakati, that even the demigods, they can't recognize who's a Vaishnava and who's not a Vaishnava. Think about that. That's a very powerful thing. Because the demigods, let's take Vayu, for example. Vayu can perceive wherever there's air. Well, there's air in everyone's body. Agni can perceive wherever there's fire. There's fire in everyone's body. They can perceive what's going on inside the body of everyone, everywhere, but they can't understand who's a Vaishnava. Wow. In that regard, let me tell you a couple stories to illustrate this point. One is from San Francisco in the early 70s. The Srila Prabhupada had gone there to Haight-Ashbury and was preaching, and the devotees had opened up a small preaching center, and many young people were coming. Allen Ginsberg recommended it's a good place to go if you're coming down from LSD. You go to Mangal Artik in the morning. And so a lot of people were coming. There was one such young man who started coming quite often, and he was really nice. And so one day, some of the devotees asked him, would you like to do some service? And he thought, yeah, service, that sounds really cool. Yeah, I'd like to do service. What can I do? And they said, well, go talk to that guy over there. And they pointed at someone, and he was a little surprised because the person wasn't a devotee. And all the devotees had dhotis and saris on, but this person was wearing jeans and some old dirty clothes. Anyway, so he went over to that person, can I help you? Who are you? And he said, I'm the garbage man here. Oh, okay. He said, you can help me take out the garbage. They had so much garbage because they were feeding thousands of people regularly with prasadam. And so they took a big truck to the garbage dump. And this new person's young man spent the whole day with that fellow who called himself the garbage man. And at the end of the day, he said, my God, the garbage man is the happiest person I've ever met in my life. If he's the garbage man, then I want to become a devotee. If even the garbage man is this happy. Later on, he found out that that garbage man was actually the temple president, and his name was Jayananda Prabhu. And that young man later became my first temple president, Vatsal Prabhu. He joined because of that. So he couldn't recognize. It just looked like he's the garbage man. There's another nice story in this regard also. There was one young man who wanted to meet Srila Prabhupada. And he was a student of the personality many of you may have heard about, Hanumat Prasad Podar, who is the founder of Gita Press, a very famous person. And one day, this young man, he'd been studying from Hanumat Prasad Podar, and he came to him one day and he said, you know, Maharaj, I found this book called Chaitanya Charitamrita in Hindi, and some Hindi translation. And could you tell me something about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And Hanumat Prasad Podar said, no, I'm not the person to tell you about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but I know someone who can. His name is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And I've heard he's coming soon to Gorakhpur. And so the young man was very happy. And when Srila Prabhupada came, he found out where Srila Prabhupada was staying, and he went there to meet him. But he was disappointed when he arrived. Prabhupada was there with many Western disciples, that everyone had left. And he heard that they'd gone for a walk or something. Everyone was gone. Only there was one old man sitting in the room by himself. And so this young man came in, he was looking around, and the old man said, what are you looking for? And he said, well, I'm looking for A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And that old man said, what do you want with him for? Yeah, the young man was a little taken aback. He said, well, I want to ask him about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the old man said, what do you want to know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for? The young man said, well, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God. And the old man said, that's nonsense. Mahaprabhu is not God. He's a devotee. He's not God. And the young man then became angry, and he started chastising the old man. You shouldn't speak like this. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of God himself, and this is not right. And he was chastising that old man. And as he was chastising him, suddenly a few Western young men came in the room, and they offered obeisances to the old man. And then this Indian-bodied young man, all of a sudden he understood the old man was Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada started laughing, and he told the devotees, he was chastising me. Prabhupada was testing him. And that young man later took initiation from Srila Prabhupada and later took sannyas, and his name was Radha Govinda Maharaj today. Very wonderful Vaishnava in our society. So he didn't recognize Srila Prabhupada. If we depend upon our material senses, then we'll always and necessarily be cheated. We need something spiritual. We need something mystical. And that mystical thing is a connection with Krishna through his holy name. When we depend upon Krishna and cry out to Krishna, and Krishna will reciprocate with us and he'll send us Guru. Otherwise, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, if we try to find Guru with our own senses, we'll always be cheated. So today in the world, so many people say that, as Prabhupada was saying earlier, we were reading, what is the use of accepting Guru? And today, I mean, really, how many of you today have gone on and Google searched something? How many times have you Google searched something already? Probably, well, I'm a writer and I'm doing different types of work. I Google searched probably 10, 15 times a day already. When we want a quick answer, we go to Google, right? And so that's become our de facto guru. And we think, what's the need? Intuitively, we think, what's the need of accepting a guru and going through all the trouble? I can just go to Google. I can just read Srila Prabhupada's books. If I go to a guru, it may cause me lots of troubles. But we won't understand. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he's said that we have to approach a person. Even if you read the books, he said 100 times, even if you read the books 1,000 times, we won't understand. Right? Let me paste in a little excerpt from an article written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. This is from a December 1931 issue of the Harmonist magazine. The article was called Thakur Bhaktivinoda. Go ahead, Prabhuji. One thing real quick. This article he wrote shortly after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay, go ahead.
There have, however, already arisen serious misunderstandings regarding the proper interpretation of the life and teachings of Srila Thakur Bhaktivinoda. Those who suppose they understand the meaning of his message without securing the guiding grace of the Acharya are disposed to unduly favor the methods of empiric study of his writings. It is not empiric wisdom that is the object of quest of the devotee. Those who read the scriptures for gathering empiric wisdom will be pursuing the wild goose chase. There are not a few dupes of the empiric scriptural erudition. These dupes have their admiring under-dupes. But the Mutual Admiration Society of Dupes does not escape by the mere weight of their number. The misfortunes due to the deliberate pursuit of the wrong course in accordance with the suggestions of our lower selves.
So he's saying that it's not just by reading, even reading Srila Prabhupada's books, even we may memorize Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in another place in this article. He says some people have memorized everything that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, but they can't understand it because they haven't approached a guru. They haven't approached a person. So he's saying that just empiric wisdom is not what we're looking for. We want something mystical. So in this regard, I'd like to tell you a story from South India, which illustrates the principle we're speaking about in this verse, this Tadvidi Pranipatina verse. Ramanujacharya, in his Gita Bhashya commentary, he comments on this verse, Pranipata Pariprashna Sevani Bir Visada Kalam Gyani Byo Vidhi. You'll understand this divine knowledge from wise men by three things. Pranipat, offering obeisances to them. Pariprashna, submissively inquiring from them, and by seva, serving them. And these things are required to have Shravan Adhikar, or the qualification to hear and deeply understand. And if we don't do these three things we're hearing about in this verse, then we won't understand. In this regard, there's a nice story I mentioned from Ramanujacharya. Ramanuja had one disciple, his name was Kuresh. And Kuresh was very famous. He was a famous scholar. And one day he approached his Guru Maharaj, Ramanuja, and he said, Guru Maharaj, can you please tell me the meaning This famous verse in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadharman parityagya mamekam saranam vrajaham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender to me, I'll deliver you from all sinful reactions, don't fear. So we would think, right, what's the big deal? I can just go online, I find it, I read the purport, and I understand it. But when Quraysh asked Ramanuja this question, Ramanuja told him, his guru told him, it's not so easy. He said, if you give up all independent desires and you serve your guru absolutely for one entire year, then you can understand the meaning of this verse, and no one else can understand it. And Quraysh, he said, that's very difficult. He said, Guru Maharaj, please forgive me, I don't know if I'm going to live for another year. Is there some shortcut so that I can understand the meaning of the verse now? Ramanuja thought for a moment, and he said, well, if you live for 1 month by begging alms from door to door without knowing where your next meal is going to come from, then you'll begin to realize the meaning of full surrender. And at that time, I'll instruct you in the meanings of this very wonderful verse. And so Quraysh did that for 1 month. And after that month had passed by, he approached Ramanuja again, and then Ramanuja spoke to him and gave him the meaning of that verse. So we should understand the difference between information collection and gaining realized knowledge. Realized knowledge can only come through pranipat, pariprashna, and seva, as we're hearing in this verse. It's not an easy thing. It's a big test. But it's something which is worth the price. Just like if someone marries well, they find a good spouse, a good husband, a good wife, who has a similar nature. And that relationship, they approach that relationship in a devotional way, then that relationship can give them so much fruit, so much benefit. And so then what to speak if we approach Sadguru? And we approach in a proper way. The problem is today that many people will say that there is no more bona fide gurus, that the last bona fide guru was Srila Prabhupada, and if you didn't take initiation from him, then well, we're sorry, you're just out of luck. I'd like to paste in another quote from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is a one-sentence statement. It comes from the 12th chapter of Jaiva Dharma. Go ahead and read this, Prabhuji.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jaiva Dharma, chapter 12. For very simply, common people do not easily develop faith in exalted personalities who are still living, but tend to develop great faith in the activities of Mahajans who have passed away.
Right? It's very difficult. It's like an artist. Everybody says that nobody appreciates an artist while he's alive. But after he's passed away, then everybody glorifies the artist. And so similarly with great spiritual personalities, we don't always appreciate them. So let's read another statement. This is from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada comments, unless one develops faith, one can see neither a pure devotee nor the Supreme Lord, and will simply indulge in envious, violent, or blasphemous activities.
This is a very strong statement. Unless we develop faith, then you can't see a pure devotee, you can't see Krishna, and the result will be you're going to be condemned to engage in 3 different types of activities. You're going to be envious, you're going to be violent, or you're going to be blasphemous. That's what it means when we don't have faith. But faith, again, is not something we can legislate. Faith is not something that the temple president or the GBC pass a resolution, they decide, you must have faith in this person. Faith is something which is given in the heart. Faith is something mystical. So in this regard, there's a nice statement made by Krishna in the Padma Purana to Arjuna. Sangsaro Vaishnavadino Deva Vaishnava Palitaha Aham cha Vaishnavadinas Tasmat Shreshtascha Vaishnavaha. Krishna says that the whole world is under the care of the Vaishnavas. Sansaro Vaishnavadino, Deva Vaishnava Palitaha. That the demigods, they're nourished, Palita, they're protected by the Vaishnavas. Some people say there's no pure Vaishnavas, but this verse gives us proof that Vaishnavas are present. And the proof is this material world is existing. Because if there were no pure Vaishnavas, there couldn't be a material world, according to Krishna. If there were no pure Vaishnavas, there would be no air, there would be no water, there would be no fire, there would be no sun, because the demigods can't exist without the Vaishnavas. And Krishna goes on to say in the same verse, Aham cha Vaishnavadinas. What to speak of the demigods? Aham, I myself, cha Vaishnavadinas. I am under the control of the Vaishnavas. Tasmat Shrestha cha Vaishnava. Therefore, the Vaishnavas are the best of all. Such an important thing. I'm going to go ahead and paste this verse in also. You know the way this Zoom chats work, if anybody wants to copy these quotes, they're very nice quotes, you should do it before we finish the session, because when the session's finished, it all disappears. That's the way the software works. So these are a lot of things to think about. Basically, our point we're trying to make is that this is up to us. And in the society of ISKCON, we can do so much. We can educate devotees. We can tell them these are the qualities of the spiritual master. This is what he speaks about. This is what's bona fide. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, taking Krishna Prasadam, worshiping Krishna. These are the things the spiritual master should speak about. But ultimately, the responsibility of finding Guru is each one of ours. Just as finding a wife or finding a husband, ultimately, it's my decision. And even in the case, I think most of you are I guess you're Deshi Videshis or Videshi Deshis, I'm not really sure. You're living in America, but you're Deshi Janas, I think. It's confusing to me these days. But I see from your names you come from Indian families. And probably a lot of you will, your parents will find a husband and wife for you, or maybe they already have. But still, even though your parents may search that out, ultimately it's up to you. And your parents can't force you to marry someone. That's a choice we have to make on our own. We may take shelter of our parents, but I have the prerogative. I have to be convinced that this is a good wife for me, a good husband. And then what to speak of that personality who's Janme Janme Prabhu, who's the Lord of my life, birth after birth. That's the seriousness of taking initiation. It's such a very, very important thing. It's a very, very mystical thing. It's not just an institutional thing. The institution can educate us. The institution can give us many things. But practical personal realization comes from Krishna. And therefore, we call this the mystical process of finding Guru. So I'd like to stop there. And I'm going to ask all of you if anyone has any comments or reflections on these topics today. You can paste in the comments. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
I would like to. So you mentioned very nice. You said that there is Pranipat, Pariprashna, and Seva. So paying obeisances and asking questions. Now considering that many times our spiritual master may not be with us physically, so we can always pay obeisances and we can ask questions. Like we can send email or we can somehow ask questions once in a while when we hear their katha. But to render personally service to them may be possible, for some may not be possible. So can you please enlighten us on how we can render service to Guru?
Well, two things are there. First of all, don't mind me saying this. This is what I said to a brahmachari a few years ago in Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan. We gave a class and we were speaking about the importance of being close to Guru. And afterwards, when brahmachari came, they said, Prabhuji, how can I be close to my Guru when he's in America and I'm here? And I folded my hands and I said, please don't mind. I don't mean to offend you, but I don't understand why you took initiation from your Guru if you think he's a mundane person. And he was very shocked when I said, he was standing, no, I don't think my Guru is a mundane person. I said, Prabhuji, if you think that mundane time and mundane space can separate you from your Guru, that they're more powerful than your guru, then that means he's mundane. We shouldn't think like that. Gurudev is always present. And so how can we render service to him? That service may be rendered either to him personally, to that Vapu Seva, or to the Vani Seva. We may serve the message of Guru. We can serve the mission of Gurudev. We serve both the message that's given and we serve the person. And that's service, that's seva. Is that helpful, Prabhuji?
Hey, I really appreciate this. I just, for everyone present, I just wanted to clarify
I thought
this
so.
because
Because in ISKCON today, now things are changing with the lockdown everywhere, but so many devotees, their gurus are traveling all the time. You can't see them. Srila Prabhupada, many of his disciples never ever saw him. They were initiated by the mail or something. But they served Srila Prabhupada through Prabhupada's mission, through Prabhupada's instructions. And it's very, very important we can do that. But at the same time, if I can hear someone speak about Srila Prabhupada, and some devotees, they have love for Prabhupada, but they never met him. And they're initiated by him. I can hear from one of them. Or I can hear from someone like Brahmananda Prabhu, who had so much association from Srila Prabhupada, or Jamuna Mataji, had so much association from Prabhupada. I respect all of those persons, but I want to hear from those devotees who had lots of association. Because you know yourself, Prabhuji, when your Guru Maharaj comes and you can associate with him, then you get special instructions and you learn about his mood. You learn, you have to serve prasadam to Bhakti Charu Maharaj. It's a very dangerous thing. Maharaj, whenever he used to come to Bhubaneswar, he used to call me, Madhavinda, come take prasadam with me. And so I would go there and there'd be 5 or 6 brahmacharis running around and bringing prasadam. And I watched and I saw Bhakti Charu Maharaj is very, very expert taking prasadam. And they would give, they would put some paneer sabji first or something. He would chastise him, no, that's not right. First you give the rice, then you give the dal, then you give the spinach. You do things in this sequence like this. You serve this much, you do quickly, you do like this. It's a very particular way to serve. So if you didn't have that physical association with him, you might read about it, you might hear about it, but it's not the same as when you see his face and you see the reaction that he has. So that physical service is important, but we're not always going to have that physical association. So in that regard, then we have to understand the mood of Guru, which we get a lot from physical association, and then we want to serve the mission and the message of the Guru. Okay? Thank you, Prabhu. Anybody else have any other comments or anything? Any reflections?
Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. I have one question actually, because Prabhupada is a good actually, because he translated the so many books. Because of that, he has that knowledge. Because of that, he has that much love to Krishna.
Yes.
Because he know how to. But we cannot. If we read, we can read, and if we see something like that, we can read. So we have very little. Whatever we are feeling, that is very little for us to reach to Krishna. But is there any other way to do like we have to develop that kind of love to Krishna actually?
Yes, we have to develop love for Krishna. That's our goal. But it's not so simple. It's not just that someone can say, you should love Krishna. Okay, I love him. It's not, it's something we have to cultivate. Rupa Goswami has described a krama, a sequence of how to develop that love. But Krishna himself says in the Adi Purana, Ye me bhakta janaparta, na me bhakta sate janam, bhaktanam chaye bhaktas te me bhakta tamamata. He tells Arjuna that those people say they're my devotee, they're not my devotee. But the devotee of my devotee is my real devotee. And therefore it's said that bhaktistu bhagavad bhakta sangena parijayate, that we develop bhakti to Krishna through service to the devotee, through association with the devotee. And that's a very, very important thing. And I see that just, I get the feeling from all of you in seeing this, that you have an intimate sangha. And I'm very, very happy if that's true, seeing that. In the 11th canto, the Bhagavatam, there's a nice statement I often quote. parasparam katanam pavanam bhagavad-yasa, that we should learn how to associate with devotees by having nice Krishna katha, by associating in a loving way with someone that we have faith in, someone that we see cares about us. And we develop love for Krishna by developing love for Krishna's devotee. And how do we do that? The Satpata Tantra describes, Hari Lila Sutochara, Pareshu Satatam Karya Pritastavaharer Yata Bhakti Nanashati. That we should learn how to love devotees. We learn to love devotees by hearing Krishna Katha. And therefore we say that the devotee gives us Krishna, and Krishna gives us a devotee, and the devotee gives us Krishna, and then it works like this. We want to go to a sadhu, but the sadhu is someone who gives us Krishna. So you associate like this with the devotees in your sangha. You develop a very, very tight sangha. You work with Shyam Kishore Prabhu. He's a very nice devotee. And you have some intimacy, some love in Krishna consciousness, and not just love like in the mundane world where people go to a movie or go to a dinner together. But real love means keeping Krishna in the center in the form of hearing and chanting. And when we do that in an intimate way, as Rupa Goswami says, Guyam Akyati Pritchati, by inquiring in a confidential way, then we develop love for the devotees. And when we develop love for the devotees, we develop love for Krishna. Is that okay, Sirish? That's your name?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Prabhuji. It's very nice.
Is that helpful for you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Where are you from? I take it you're from India originally, from your accent. It sounds like you're a Hindi speaker.
India, Prabhuji.
Where are you from originally?
From India, Prabhuji.
Where in India?
From Michigan.
Where?
Michigan, Canton, Prabhuji.
Vishakhapatnam?
Sure. He's from, Mataji, you can say where in India. He's asking where in India.
Oh, okay. In India is Andhra Pradesh, Prabhuji.
You're from Gujarat?
No, Andhra Pradesh.
Andhra Pradesh, from South India. Very good. Very, very good. India is such a wonderful place. I'm so happy here because it's a land of Krishna, although many people are turning away from Krishna now. And it's become confusing. Who's a Deshi and who's a Bideshi? Because really, Bharati Brahman, that person who's a resident of Bharat Bhumi is someone who's Krishna conscious. And by Srila Prabhupada's mercy now, many, many people from all over the world are becoming residents of India. And Indian personalities like yourselves are going to the West and bringing Krishna consciousness there. So you're all living in Miami, is that right?
Michigan.
In Michigan, oh, you're in Farmington. Yeah, somehow
Correct.
I had some impression you'd gone to Miami. Okay, now that makes it more clear. Okay. Yeah, sometimes we were going to Ypsilanti, but we didn't make it to Farmington. I'm sorry, we're big offenders. Okay, anything
We're
else?
so grateful that you gave us virtual Sangam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Anybody else have any other comments or anything? There's a question I have online from someone else. Let me go ahead and answer this. This is from a friend of ours from South Africa. His name is Krishna Balaram Prabhu. Krishna Balaram Prabhu Ki Jai Ho. We just got an email recently from Chaitanya Prabhu, your dear friend. So he's asking, can one differ in opinion from the Diksha Guru? Well, it said Guru Avagya, that we should not neglect Avagya, the instruction of Gurudev. So we should be very, very careful in taking initiation from Guru. But at the same time, sometimes we may have a little different understanding. That's natural. Just like the son may have a little different understanding from the father. But he doesn't practice avagya. He doesn't disrespect his guru. He may have a little slightly different understanding. That's okay, but still I respect, as Sanatana Goswami quotes in Hari Bhakti Vilas, Avidyova savidyova guru eva janardana margosto vyapya margosto guru eva param yati. That whether my Gurudev, he's savidya or avidya, he knows Krishna, doesn't know Krishna, he knows Shastra, doesn't know Shastra. Guru eva janardana. He's Bhagavan, he's God. I treat him with great respect. Margosto Vyapi Margosto, whether he's situated properly in the path or not situated properly. Guru Eva Param Gati, my Gurudev is my everything. Once I quoted this verse to one senior devotee in Vrindavan, and he became a little upset. He said, how can you say that? And I told him, I said, first of all, I'm not saying that, but that's what Sanatana Goswami and Shastra is saying. And how can he say that? Because Gurudev is mantra datta, he's given us mantra, and therefore he's sambandha datta. He's giving us our connection with Krishna. He is our connection with Krishna. And just like my father and mother, they may or may not be devotees, but I give respect to them because they gave birth to me. And so I've become Dvija now, Dui Janma, second born by the grace of Gurudev. And I always give respect to that. So if something happens, Jiva Goswami says, and maybe my Gurudev says something that I don't appreciate or understand, it's not forbidden for me to have a different understanding, but I should be very careful not to disrespect him. So I hope that's okay for Krishna Balaram Prabhu, and I hope you're well with your beautiful boys and all the devotees in South Africa. Does somebody else have some comments or reflections, questions?
Prabhuji, I have one more actually, because you told me if somebody couldn't find Guru, if they're really love Krishna and they're doing their lifetime, they're practicing some Krishna consciousness, but suddenly that soul is leaving this world. But Krishna connected that soul to some Guru, right, Prabhuji?
Yes. Yes, Krishna can do and undo anything. When we say that we should depend on Krishna to find Guru,
if that soul is really pure, if that soul couldn't find any Guru because of I don't know, Prabhuji, because of some, whoever is getting mercy, they can find Guru, right, Prabhuji?
Even Krishna can come himself, although Srila Prabhupada says that's a very extraordinary, unusual thing, and we shouldn't depend upon that. But it's a natural thing. It's just like if a boy meets a girl and knows this is my wife, you don't have to preach to him about it. You don't have to try to convince him.
But that is Krishna told, Prabhuji, or just the way that Prabhupada told, I don't know.
Krishna will tell us in our heart. We'll know. Krishna will speak in our heart according to the degree of our sincerity. Now, if we're not very sincere, then we may hear a wrong voice, and we may become attracted to some other person. And therefore, the first thing is Chaito Darpana Marjanam, that we want to purify our heart so that we can hear the voice of the Chaitya Guru, Krishna in the heart. Chaitya Guru is always there with us. And according to our sincerity, he'll manifest a form as Sadguru. But sometimes we've seen devotees have problems. And somebody, just like I know one very wonderful Vaishnavi, who was chanting 3 lakhs a day for some years, but they were initiated twice in ISKCON, and both of their gurus had problems and fell down. And at one point that Mataji went to a big astrologer, and the astrologer told her, in your previous life, you committed some offense to your guru. And because of that, you're going to have problems with guru in this life. So sometimes it works like that. But still, we have no choice. We want to depend upon Krishna. As Swapna is writing to me, we should always depend upon Krishna. So somebody's also writing me a question. Thank you so much for a wonderful lecture. His answer to my question, which I asked Shanti Prabhu in Finding Guru, I never ever thought that finding Guru can also be mystical. Yes. Mystical means when we see Krishna's hand. And when we're praying and crying, I don't see Guru, I can't find Guru, I don't know who Guru is, only you know Krishna, you send me somebody. And when we're crying like that, my Guru Maharaj called that Atma Krandana, the crying of the soul. When we're crying like that, then Krishna sends Guru. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, that's amazing. Krishna sent me Guru. Krishna did this thing. Oh, wow, then your faith goes way, way up. It's such an amazing thing. So depend on Krishna, and that will happen. Okay? Someone else has written me a question. Someone, Saradiya Rasa,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam.
Thank you for your nice class. I would like to ask, I understand from your class that we are just into new ISKCON followers. So we are doing our regular rounds of standing. What is your suggestions like to find a guru, like in the beginning stage, earlier stage, like keep on chanting and listening?
Well, in the
classes?
beginning stage, we what can we do? We're blind. And so the devotees, they say, oh, you should hear from Maharaj who's coming. Or you may ask Sham Kishore Prabhu, who's your guru? How many gurus there in ISKCON? You may ask questions like that. That's natural. That's not a bad thing. But ultimately, it's dependent upon us, upon our degree of sincerity. And my point I'm trying to urgently make to all of you is this is something mystical. It's not something institutional. It's not something mechanical. The institution can't give you guru. Krishna can give you guru because guru is Krishna's man. And we have to wholly depend upon Krishna and cry out to him. And he'll send us that personality. Have faith in that. And so in the meantime, Srila Prabhupada is there. Prabhupada's movement is there. Srila Prabhupada's devotees are there. And we can also take shelter of them. We hear from them. Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he says, Svajata Yashaya Snigdha Sadhu Sangha Sato Vare, that we take shelter of someone, first of all, who's Svajatiya. Svajatiya, you may know, I think it's the same in Hindi, means literally someone from the same family, the same caste. It means, in our case, someone who's coming in line in ISKCON, because I want to please Srila Prabhupada, because this movement saved me. Srila Prabhupada saved me. So I want someone who's Svajatiya in this family, Svajati Ashrayas, but also I'm going to take shelter of someone who's Snigdha, who's affectionate to me, who has love for me, I have a relationship with. And most importantly, who's sadhu, who my Guru Maharaj defined in this verse, his comments on it, someone who's more advanced than myself. I want to associate with someone like that. And that is a principle of guru. Guru, in one sense, means anyone who's more advanced than myself. And as you know well, being a cultured person, I suspect, being from India, that you may have a Mridanga guru, you may have a harmonium guru, you may have your Sangeet guru, you may have your financial guru, you may have your guru who's teaching you English, you may have many different gurus. And that's okay, we give respect to all those personalities. But we also want a paramartic guru. And we have gurus, we have leaders in the society, we also treat them in one sense as guru, but ultimately, that person who Krishna sends to me, that person I have absolute faith in, that's guru. Because although you may have sand and you may have cement, if there's no water, it's not going to work. You may have a good disciple, you may have a good guru, but if there's no faith, if the disciple doesn't have faith in the guru, then it has no meaning and the relationship won't work. So faith is not something that can be legislated or forced. Faith is something which will arise in the heart. It's a very mystical thing. This is my point today. Does that make more sense for you?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you.
I think it's a very nice question. I'd like to go here to Facebook for a minute. There's a Mataji, we're also live streaming there, named Saradiya Rasa. She asks, what should one do if one's guru does something which makes one lose faith in the guru? Jiva Goswami speaks about this in his Bhakti Sandarbha. She says, I'm referring to a situation in which he transgresses Shastric regulations for the sannyas ashram. So Jiva Goswami, he says that one should find someone who is a Sarup Shakti, Krishna Pushta Parikar, an eternal associate of the Lord, and take shelter of that person. And he says, but what happens if after some time, let me take a throat lozenge, excuse me, someone loses faith in that personality? What can they do? Now, Jiva Goswami doesn't say that you've come to a realization that he's bogus or this or that. It's just you've lost your faith. Because you've gotten something from that person. You got mantra from them. If they told you, chant Hare Krishna, read Srimad Bhagavatam, worship the deity of Krishna, take Krishna Prasadam, worship Tulsi, those are all wonderful instructions. And I can't reject those instructions. But I may reject a wrong instruction from Guru. And if I see that Gurudev is doing something which doesn't make sense, maybe I see my Gurudev coming out of a liquor store with a big bag in his hands. I think, oh my God. Different devotees will do different things. One devotee will take a photograph of Gurudev. They take a picture of Gurudev and they put it on the internet. Just see, there he is with a big bag coming out of the liquor store. But if someone is sincere, they'll humbly approach that person privately. Guru Maharaj, I don't understand. What were you doing in that liquor store? What is that bag? And then your Guru may say, that was a bag of books. And the liquor store owner, he wanted to buy a Bhagavad Gita. I met him on the street and he told me to come to his shop. So I did. Oh, thank you, Gurudev. But if he doesn't have a good answer, and he puts the bag down and you hear some bottles jingling, and you see some alcohol in the bag or something, and he wants to hide that, then what do? Then you offer your obeisances to that person. You appreciate what that person has given to us. But maybe if they can't answer your questions right, and Krishna tells you that there's something wrong, then maybe you have to keep some distance from them. Durteki Dandava. And no problem. Jiva Goswami says in Bhakti Sandarbha that in such a situation, he doesn't say you should reject them. He doesn't say you should take initiation again. He says you should find someone else who's descended from the spiritual world. And he says if you can't do that, then you should find a pure devotee. Find someone, in other words, who we have faith in. Because it's absolutely required that we have faith. If we don't have an example of someone who we feel is a pure devotee, how can we make advancement in our spiritual life? So I hope, Sardiya Rasa Mataji, that's helpful for you. It's a very honest question. And these are important questions, devotees. We have to answer these things in a very straightforward way. Otherwise, it's very bad. If we just tell people, that sometimes I hear devotees, with all respect, they say, anyway, just take shelter of the temple president. That breaks my heart, because I didn't choose the temple president. I give respect to him because in this society we want to cooperate for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. But my guru, that's my personal choice. So all of you have this most important choice to make in your life. My suggestion to you, you pray to Srila Prabhupada. Pray to Srila Prabhupada, I want a guru like you. I want to meet you. And Srila Prabhupada, I don't know who your representative is. You please make it clear. And Srila Prabhupada, he'll do that. Prabhupada's present. Prabhupada's very, very concerned about the devotees. So I hope that's helpful for all of you. It's getting late here. And I passed usually I take rest about half an hour ago, and we had some things going on. So if I can take your permission to finish, I'd like to go now. Is that okay, Prabhuji?
Thank you so much, Roji, for extending yourself. And just without any further conversation.
I hope very much that all of you have something to think about. And my humble suggestion would be that maybe later you can have some discussion with Shyam Kishore and you can discuss some of the things that we said. And think about it, give some reflection. It's very good for you. Anyway, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki, Vancha Kalpa Dharivishcha, Kripa Sindhu Devicha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namaha, Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. I'm still on Facebook. Would it be sufficient in ISKCON to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada? Well, what does it mean to really take shelter of Srila Prabhupada? It means that we cry. It means we take shelter of the holy name. Not just take shelter of the institution, but we take shelter of the holy name. And Krishna, Prabhupada will protect us. I hope that's helpful. Good evening. Hare Krishna.